Hello beautiful people, wonderful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Comfortable and this is Gist with Comfy. If you're stumbling upon this channel for the very first time, you're highly welcome. Do want to hit that red subscribe button and the post notification bell. In that way you always get notified anytime I post a new video. Welcome back to yet another video. Yeah, welcome. On today's video, I'm just going to point out few electoral malpractice that happened in the just concluded presidential election here in Nigeria. Yeah, that's actually what this video is about. And yeah, as you guys already know, if you've been watching my videos, if you've watched my previous videos that I talked about the election, you guys will know that the election here in Nigeria, like the presidential election here in Nigeria, took place on the 25th of February 2023. Yes, so that was just last Saturday. So yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a rundown of the electoral malpractices that went down. I might not actually come up here with a lot of videos, despite the fact that I have all the videos of what I'm going to be talking about. I have the proof. I would have just been putting it here and there, but because of YouTube policy, I will not want to violate any of the rules by putting anything that has violence in it. But anyone that is not too bad, I'll put it for you guys to see. But if it's too much, I am not going to put it so that I will not get a strike on my channel. So let's get down to it. The first one I'm going to be talking about is actually from the election timetable. We're told that elections were going to start by 8:30 a.m. And yeah, a lot of polling units complained that INEC officials did not come on time, despite the fact that my own polling unit was not the case because I went out by 8:45, and when I got there the INEC officials were already on ground, and the electoral process was already going on. So this has an exception to my own polling unit because they actually came on time, but a lot of other polling units complained that the INEC officials did not come on time and the electoral materials did not get to them on time. Personally, I have a friend that was still outside till 6 p.m. and then election materials did not get to her polling unit and the INEC officers were not there. So obviously, in some parts of the country, election materials did not arrive on time. Some places waited up until 6 p.m. before they could start voting. So yeah, that was the number one violation because the timetable said 8:30 a.m. and some of the polling units, the INEC officials did not keep up to that expectation. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is the fact that on the ballot papers, some political party logo were omitted. This one was actually funny because I started asking myself, is it not still the same INEC that printed the ballot papers? So how come some did not have a particular party's logo on it? So could it be that it was printed elsewhere after INEC had released the one they printed, and maybe the ballot papers were printed elsewhere and then swapped with the original that INEC must have produced? That question, we're yet to get an answer to it, but that was one of the malpractice that happened. A particular party logo was not on some ballot papers. Yes, especially in Lagos and Port Harcourt, we got that report from. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is snatching of ballot boxes. Yes, this happens in almost all the elections in Nigeria. They must snatch ballot box and run away. This particular election was not an exception. They were snatching of ballot boxes here and there and then running away with it, and even getting up to the point that they were tearing some ballot papers that were already received, and then some were thrown into the gutter, like they were snatching ballot boxes. Another case that came up as a malpractice in this election was underage voters. Yes, so some parts of the north had underage voters. So there was this 6-year-old boy. He's alleged to be 6 years old, and then the boy was actually with a voter's card, and then when the voter's card was retrieved from him and looked at, the date of birth on the voter's card was carrying 1991. Meanwhile, it was a 6-year-old boy carrying the voter's card. And aside from him, there were other underage voters that went out for this election. So for the purpose of people that are not Nigerians, here in Nigeria, the law is that you must reach 18 years. Yes, minors are not allowed to vote. So you must actually reach 18 years before you have the civil right to vote. But we had some underage voters, so minors went out and stood in queue to vote. And it was sad that when the attention of the police was actually called to this, the police had this to say that he did not actually know if he was a minor. Yeah, that it could be his genetic making, that he doesn't actually know and believe that he was a minor. The next thing I'm going to be talking about is the fact that some political parties organize talks to go to polling unit to prevent voters from voting. We had a lot of these complaints, and it got up to the point that a woman was actually stabbed on her face, and then she went out and got it attended to, and she still came back to her polling unit to vote. Swallow to this woman. A lot of people are giving her credit and accolades. Actually, that was brave of her to still come back, and then she voted. She was crying, she was in tears, and then she was in blood, and then she was sweating, but she still voted for whoever she wanted to vote for. So this was actually as a result of the talks that were sent to some polling units. And these talks actually also prevented voters from voting, because they were told that if you are coming here and you're voting for another party aside from this particular party, we're not going to allow you guys to vote. So these were actually part of the malpractices that went down. The next one I'm going to be talking about is the fact that results were not uploaded as promised. So in each of the polling units, people after voting waited and counted their votes, but it was sad that it wasn't uploaded using the Beavers machine as promised. So this gave them the opportunity to manipulate the results. So we now started seeing results that had a lot of cancellations, a lot of tipex on it, like correction pen on it. And yeah, the malpractice was too much at the collation level. Yes, there were a lot of changing of figures, there were a lot of carrying a particular party's figure to give to another, and there were a lot of saying that this particular polling unit did not have a particular it did not have any voter for a particular party, meanwhile they had. So this was part of some of the malpractices that took place on the 25th of February 2023 during the presidential election. Another thing I'm going to be talking about, in several polling units, we saw some INEC officials during the collation period when they were changing the scores and changing the original results. We saw that security personnel actually were there monitoring the whole process, and they were not saying anything about it. They were not cautioning the INEC officials for doing that. They were just busy protecting them and allowing them to do what they were doing, allowing them to carry out the malpractice that they were actually doing. This is so sad, because I personally expected that the security operatives would stop these people from carrying out this malpractice, but it's sad that they were actually protecting them as they were carrying out these malpractices. I saw a video of a particular polling unit that the INEC officials were inside trying to manipulate figures, and then the police officers were actually outside trying to protect the INEC officials from the crowd, because the people outside were trying to, like, what's up, what are they doing, why are they manipulating results? And then the police officers were pushing away the masses just to protect the INEC officials from the crowd so that they can be able to manipulate their results. Okay, another thing I'm going to be talking about that happened, some politicians, some state officials, some politicians in the states, in different states, actually helped out in the malpractice process, because some of them paid the INEC officials to do the manipulation. Some of them went personally to the polling units and changed the figures by themselves. A lot of these were reported as malpractices that went down during the just concluded 2023 presidential election. I just thought I should bring this to your notice, few of the malpractices that went down during this election. This will be it for this particular video. I just came out to let you guys know what was going on, and yeah, this will be it for this particular video. If at all you enjoyed this video, give it a massive thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on post notification bell. In that way you always get notified anytime I post a new video. See you guys on the next one. For now, bye. Now I will let you be the judge.
After all these malpractices that I listed that happened in the just concluded 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, do you agree that this election was free, fair, and credible? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section.